Hey mini enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all well and I hope you're having a great day. So today, part 2, we're back on PL sorting out that back end, the valance and the boot floor. Now it got me thinking because it didn't seem that long ago that I'd done sort of the rear end restoration on this car. I took all the subframe out, I repaired the rear hill board, I've done the rear sections of the sills, and we put a brand new heritage subframe in it as well. And I was thinking to myself, did I really miss all of that at the back end? But looking back on it, that was actually 6 years ago now. In fact, it was over 6 years ago. So yeah, it just shows how time flies. And I think it just really shows you a couple of things really. Small scabs can turn into a big mess when you start going digging. And cars, even though they're sat in a garage, they still sit there and they still corrode just at a much slower rate than they would do if they were outside. Now, I've got some comments in the previous video, and like I say, with lots of, you know, classic mini stories and repairs over the years, things were done just to keep them on the road. So this boot floor repair on PL, which some people were a little bit critical of, it wasn't really done properly. It was solid, to be fair, but that was done 11 years ago now. So a fair time ago, and it cost, for that boot floor repair, the MOT at the time and a few other bits and bobs, it come to £2,332. So yeah, it's obviously quite an expensive repair at the time, but hey ho, it is what it is. Want to get this fixed and back on the road because I've got the new Mini out there, the Mini City, or the Super City as I think it will be known. I've been flat out on PL trying to get it finished so I can get it down for an MOT, get it back on the road, and I can get on with the other project. So without further ado, let's get stuck into some action. Right, I keep looking at this thinking, could I save that bit? Could I repair that bit? Sometimes you just got to summon your inner Mark. Just get on with it. Let's cut it out. Right, so there we go. As the saying goes, you can't break an egg without making an omelette. So, as I thought, this rear panel has been repaired before. In fact, there's like, you can just see the weld lines in here. So this whole back section of the boot has been repaired at some point, and what they've done is they've just gone up to the hinge panel and welded along this line. So there was not three, this should extend out to about here, and then that becomes the third lip. So that's pretty good condition up here. I haven't gone right round in the corners yet, because when I get the new panel, I'm probably going to be cutting up a little bit further around here and a little bit higher. But for the moment, I don't know where my cut line is, so I've cut it very low. So once I do make that final cut, I can clean up this lip as well. Underneath, yeah, it looks pretty clean and tidy. So what am I going to do with this? I did think I would just maybe weld it back onto the rear panel like had been done before, but that's really going to distort the rear panel. It's also not how it was originally put together. I did think about I could just spot weld a lip in here, but I think I'm just going to take the plunge. I'm going to extend this out, run a seam of weld down there so it's back to how it should be, and then you've got the three lips there. There is an argument for doing it the way they've done it. There's less chance of corrosion because you've only got two bits welded together, but it's not original. End of the day, this is a very rare car. It's worth doing, and some of you I'm sure say, why don't you just stick a whole brand new floor pan in there, Keith? Yeah, this has obviously escalated into much more than I thought it would be. I did have a hint that I might have this problem. It, you know, it was in the back of my mind looking at what had been done on it. Probably the worst thing is I'm going to have to spray that back panel now. Hopefully, if I can keep all the welds right down the bottom here, I can blend in into this rear light. So if it's not a perfect match, it shouldn't really notice. I don't want to go painting the whole rear panel. It's old paintwork, it's faded a bit. So there's all our old panels. I always keep everything right till the last moment. Always do that. Keep your offcuts, because you never know when you might need to measure, double check. You'll notice straight away when I took that hinge panel out of the back, this is all really loose now. So this will all want lining back up again properly. It is, yeah, not much strength with that cut out there. So there's our valance. That's the bottom of the hinge panel. This is the actual hinge panel itself and both the corners. As you can see, look at the inside of that. There was no point trying to clean that up. It would have just rotted through again very, very quickly. And on the top here, I mean, that is probably just a skimmer filler. That's why it didn't look too bad. And this is the side where, as I say, they've sort of folded the lip downwards. Again, when you look at the top of that, it's very, very smooth because it's got a skimmer filler over it. The main hinge panel itself, it's actually, like in the middle here, it's not too bad, but like I say, what they've done is they've just run a bead of weld along here, so that was actually quite difficult to get out. But again, you know, it was rotten there, bubbling through here, rotten at this end. So, you know, unless I was going to bodge it up, there wasn't really any way of doing that properly. This might seem a little bit mad, might be my OCD, but just a tip from me. If ever you're doing restoration work like this, I tidy up and I hoover up every time I finish. Even though next time I come back in, I'm going to make a right mess. I don't know, it just makes you feel better. When you're then indoors, if the garage is horrible and dirty out here, it just puts you off. I tidy everything up, put everything away, hoover up, sweep up, even clean round the car. So when I then come back out, I'm not working in a pigsty. So that's it for me this evening. I'm not actually sure what's next. I need to go indoors. I'm probably going to order a heritage panel. It is really expensive for a repair panel. But like I say, it's a very rare car, this. The repair Magnum panels come in 3 sections, so you just got to do more welding. It just more fettling. But the Heritage panel is like 3 or 4 times more expensive. But the car's worth it, isn't it? So I need to get that Heritage panel ordered up and delivered so I know where my cut lines are. I could start extending this lip down the bottom here. Need to have a think about that. I need to order some new goggles. My old ones I can barely see out of them. So yeah, I'll be back in a minute. It'll be another day and I'll probably be welding that panel back in. Right, so we're at that point where I'm just waiting for parts at the moment. I ordered up a genuine Heritage rear hinge panel repair section, which is all this bit below the rear lights. But in the meantime, I can get on. I need to extend this lip the whole way across. Now, I did think about overlapping it and spot welding it, but I'm not keen on overlapping panels. Spot welding, because it's a repair section really, it should be continuous seam weld. It would be, yeah, it should really be continuous seam weld. So then I did think about using Mark's flanging tool, which I might still do yet because it makes it a lot easier to weld. But the metal is pretty good here and it's, yeah, pretty good. I'm just going to do, sometimes with jobs like this, they can get a bit overwhelming, but you know, it's like the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One chunk at a time. Just, you know, don't get overwhelmed with it. Do a bit, complete it, move on. So I'm actually probably going to do this in 3 sections. I'll do the corners, I'll do the middle bit and the other corner. So I've just prepped this corner over here. This is pretty much ready to go now. Never throw away your old bits, like I said before, because you'll use them for patterns. So there is my repair section there. Now I've cleaned off, that zinc coated that is, so I've cleaned it all off with a strip and clean disc. Otherwise it gives off nasty fumes. And that, if I've measured right, should be pretty much a perfect fit into there. I can trim down afterwards, so at this corner down here, that's obviously sticking out way too far. But when I get the new panel, I can line it up against that. But for now, yeah, I'll get the welder out and we'll get that welded in place. Right, so a little tip for you. I've not welded for a while, so might need to fiddle around with a welder, get all my wire speed right and everything, but I know roughly where it should be. Now, when we're welding thin pieces of metal like this, we're not overlapping, we're leaving a very small gap in the middle. What you can do is just back where you're going to weld with a bit of copper. This is just a squashed down bit of copper pipe in the vise. That will stop you blowing holes in it. If you are, you know, an amateur welder, it's a really good little tip, little hack that will make your life easier. So just back where you're welding with a bit of copper. Well, not the best to be honest, but that is the first welds of the year. I've blown a couple of holes in places, which I'll sort out in a moment. I mean, a grinding wheel makes a good welder of anyone, particularly like these flat discs. So I'll get that in there. We need to take it back to almost nothing anyway. So we'll double check we got decent penetration, but we should have. Flap it back, sort out any pinholes, and then we are done. Right, so there we go, pretty happy with that. We've got nice weld all the way around there now. Don't have to flap it completely off because it's never going to be visible that. In fact, if you leave a bit of weld on there, it will just strengthen it. And then underneath, as you can see, we've got penetration all the way through. I just tacked that closing bracket on there because it was loose. So yeah, now I think I'll now do the other end because that's the trickiest area, and then we move to the middle. Now, I always get asked about welder settings. So it's a Clark 135TE. We're welding, this is thin metal, the bodywork metal. It's about 0.7, 0.8 mil. So we are on minimum one, about 6.5, 6 3/4 wire speed. And the gas we're using is Argo mix, argon and CO2, 80% argon, 20% CO2. And these are 100 bar, 2.2 litre bottles, so they're higher pressure than the normal mini MIG bottles. They last a lot longer, more cost effective, but not as cost effective as a big bottle. Right then, GoPro battery went flat there some way through, can't remember where, but it's all finished now. Yeah, all good. I mean, edge isn't perfect at the moment. Obviously, when we get the new Valance and the new rear section, we'll trim this to the exact shape it needs to be. But yeah, that's all good. Continuously seam welded along. Only thing I'm going to do now, a little bit OCD, but that's the tab for the wiring loom. There should be another one there, I think, one there and one further up. So I'm going to make up some tabs, get the spot welder out and spot weld them into place. But yeah, good progress. If you are wondering, so far I'm about 8 hours into this, so I'll try and keep a tally of how long it takes. It's a fair bit of work.